Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jai Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Sri Radha Shyam Sundar ki jai, Nitai Gaupramanandi.
Hari Hari. Hare Krishna. So welcome His Holiness Mahatma Das Prabhu ji and आइए प्रभु जी आप भी बैठिए है ना सो माता जी let's focus here now. So Mahatma Das Prabhu ji joined the ISKCON and the senior disciple of disciple of Srila Prabhupada in 1969. He joined ISKCON and supporting the Prabhupada and all the mission in Berkeley. Since then, he was more than 50 years. He was supporting and preaching, and he is an initiating guru in ISKCON, and he's preaching, I think, mostly in the South America and this portion of the thing. And I attended multiple sessions of Mahatma Das Prabhu online, and we were fortunate because of Geeta Mataji. She brought in the 2010. We attended Mahatma Das Prabhu class along with Lakshmi Muni Mataji in 2010 October when I joined ISKCON. Since then I attended multiple, but that was online. So somehow I reached out to him from his portal and I said, Prabhuji, we are coming, can you give some of your hours? So with that conditions and Prabhuji accepted that, okay, but he was not interested on Monday thing. I know because Monday was maybe his other commitment, but somehow he said, we have only this bandwidth. So he said, okay, let me do it 1 hour thing. So we have from 10:30 we thought, but due to the weather, we started. So
I knew that it would start. I knew it would start late.
We late?
No problem.
So the locations was, we are keep on changing. First we thought inside the temple, then farmhouse here. So finally we are here. So let's focus on the experience and the things which is coming out of the Mahatma Das Prabhu. Because his experience with lot of seminars on the how we can improve our bhakti, how we can chant properly, how we can progress in our bhakti mark, right? So that's what we need to learn. So along with that, we ordered some books of his. I asked him, so each family can take one book from this. Each family one book. Or you can pass it on. So this book, or you can, give it to each, one to each family. Yeah. एक family का one book है.
Can I get one?
Take.
I don't have one.
No.
I don't have one printed on it.
No, I already have this one. So, everyone got it? Each family. Okay. Can you give it to them? No, if just for the reading also, if you think you need one, but take one family, I think I ordered that. So with that, welcome again, Mahatma Das Prabhu, with saying Hari Bol 3 times. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Yes, Mahatma.
Can you, there's a car right over there, gray car, can you put that in?
Yeah, sure.
Namo Vishnu
Lori
Padaya.
photo?
Yeah. Namo Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Prashnaya Bhutale, Srimati Bhakti, Vedanta Swami, Tinamane, Namaste, Saraswati Deve, Gauravani Prashanane, Nirvisesa Sanyavadi Prashanane. Srila Prabhupada, can you say? Welcome to Alachua. When I woke up this morning, I thought it was going to be warm today. It was, sort of. Anyway. The farmers are happy when it rains. Yes? So, now that you have the book, just look at that picture of Prabhupada chanting Japa. And just, look at it and just feel it. What do you think is going on within Prabhupada's heart? What do you think Prabhupada's feeling? Just by looking at the picture, just look at it and allow yourself to kind of imagine what Prabhupada is feeling when he's chanting, just by looking at the picture on the cover. Yeah, you could see he's absorbed. Yeah, absorbed in thinking of Krishna. He's not thinking about the office. Well, he doesn't have it. Well, he has a lot of work to do, but you can see he's not thinking about other things. Yeah. What else? What else do you feel or think Prabhupada feels when you see this picture? Bliss. Yeah, you can see, kind of see that Prabhupada's relishing something. Isn't it? It looks like if I gave you something, like the best gulab jamun in the universe, and after you ate it, you would be like, kind of like that, isn't it? Yeah. Relishing, yes.
Peace.
Yeah. You can see that he's with Krishna, and how much more peaceful can you be if you're with Krishna? You can see that, right? Yeah, that he's with Krishna. Anything else you see in that picture?
While chanting, he's only chanting.
Yeah. He's not on his phone. Well, they didn't have phones then. But if he had a phone, he wouldn't be on it while chanting. He's not reading a book. He's not doing anything else. He's just chanting. It's very important. Anything else? Focus. You can see the focus. Of course, if you love Krishna, easy to focus on Krishna. You know, when I look at that picture, I think, like, I kind of feel Prabhupada's love. You can see that, you know, he's chanting the name of his beloved. You know, it's like you want to be with your loved one, but you're separated from them, and then when you meet them, doesn't it look like Prabhupada, kind of like, he just met his loved one, you know, finally we're together, you know, that kind of thing. I get that impression. Now it's just you and me. You know, like a love song. I'm away from you, I want to be with you, just you and me together. So you can see, Prabhupada, it's Krishna, just him and Krishna together. Nothing else. And he's satisfied. Thank you. Anything else you see in this picture?
It seems content.
Content, yeah. Definitely. You ever chant and you have a million things to do and it's hard to be content because you're thinking about whatever else you have to do? So you're meditating on something else, even though you're chanting. I never saw Prabhupada do that. Also, when Prabhupada did kirtan, he was very, very absorbed and very, very focused. That stood out to me. Every time we had kirtan, every time I was with Prabhupada and we had kirtan, it was like this wave of devotion was just like a volcanic eruption from his heart. You never see Prabhupada talking to someone, or extremely rare, that he would be talking to someone during the kirtan. Having little meetings with him. He was very absorbed with Krishna. Anything else you see in this picture? I'll tell you a story. Why I think this picture is so important. This takes place in 1970 in San Francisco at the Rath Yatra Festival. And there was some trouble before the festival, and the devotees received some threats. the threats were made to Srila Prabhupada. So the devotees thought, Prabhupada, I don't think you should go on the parade because it could be dangerous. And Prabhupada said, well, it's been advertised that I'll be on the parade, so what do we do? So they thought, well, in the beginning of the parade, don't come out, and we'll see what's happening. And then later on, like halfway through, it was like a 5-hour run, 5 or 6 hours. Went through the whole, I don't know if you've ever been to Golden Gate Park. It's from one end to the other. Well, anyway, it took us at least 5 hours, 5 or 6, 4, maybe. I can't remember, it was a while ago. So, Prabhupada finally came out, and so we were all like a semicircle, waiting for Prabhupada to come out. He drives up in the car, so the Rath Yatra was like, let's say maybe like where the parking lot is. Prabhupada's in his car and he's waiting for it, and so, we saw Prabhupada, or we knew he was coming, so we all gathered around him, waited for the car, and then Prabhupada got out of the car, and somehow or other, I was standing in the right place because he got out, like right where that stand is, where the phone is, like, or even closer, which means basically an arm's length on the back. And then Prabhupada paid obeisances on the dirty street. It's a street where cars drive. In Golden Gate Park, he paid obeisances to Jagannath. And then Krishna inspired me, said, rather than look at Lord Jagannath, I want to look at Prabhupada. Because he can see that Lord Jagannath is Krishna. And I want to see the face of someone that's looking at God. That was my thinking, somehow or other. I'd only been a devotee 8 months, I was 20 years old. But Krishna inspired me. You can look at Jagannath anytime. Right now, look at Prabhupada looking at Jagannath. And then, so I looked at Prabhupada's face, and it was like, you could tell he was looking at Jagannath, and you could tell he was in love with Krishna, with Lord Jagannath. That's what I could see in his face. So, when you ever see a picture of Prabhupada chanting japa or a video, just by looking at him, you can learn so much about what japa is. And practically everything you just said, we could finish the retreat, we could finish this class right now and say, take those 5 things home with you that you just said. Peaceful, absorbed, healing, and so forth. And so, I just wanted to share with you that we have this example. This is how Prabhupada chanted. We have the example of a pure devotee. And obviously, we should follow the example of a pure devotee, of course. Right? So, I want to take you back to 1965, because I think it will help you appreciate the power of the holy name. Because if we are going to chant well, number one, we have to appreciate it. It's difficult to do something well if you don't appreciate it, isn't it? Right? Like if you tell your kids, do this well. If they don't understand why, they're like, why should I do this? You say, no, it'll be good for you. In 5 years from now, you'll thank me that I made you do this because it will help you in these 5 ways. And then they can think about it. You really help me in these 5 ways? Yeah, you'll be smarter, richer, more beautiful, have more friends, more successful, whatever. And then they'll say, well, that sounds good, okay. So now, they can do it enthusiastically because they understand it, they appreciate it. So I want to help you all appreciate the power of the holy name. So in order to do that, we're going to go back to the United States in 1965. It was in 1960, maybe you know, 1965, 66 perhaps, was the time when immigration laws changed. So prior to this time, 65 or 66, there were no people born in India allowed to live in America. Prabhupada was among the first to get it, whatever he got, visa, green card. I think he got a green card. Prabhupada was amongst the first people born in India to get a green card in America. Did you know that? Oh, wow. Yeah. It just happened at that time. So prior to that, if an Indian was in America, it was just on vacation. They weren't working here, they weren't living. I never, growing up, the only Indians that I saw growing up were students at my university. So they could get a visa to study. So, Prabhupada comes into America. So, I lived in South Africa. And South Africa has a lot of Indians, and it's close to India. Well, not so close, but about a 9-hour flight, something, 8, 9 hours. And so, the white people in South Africa, they know about Indian culture because there's so many Indian people. They know the food, they know the religion, and so forth. In America, at that time, if you were a vegetarian, and I'm serious, people said, oh my God, you're vegetarian, you're going to die, you're not getting enough protein. And if you believed in karma, well, not so much karma, if you believed in reincarnation, they said, maybe you should go see a psychiatrist because there must be something wrong with it. I'm serious. People thought, if you believe in reincarnation, reincarnation is not part of Christianity, at least not mainstream Christianity. Maybe in some of the more mystic traditions. So, all these ideas were not prevalent. It was starting to infiltrate through some visiting gurus and speakers. But Prabhupada is coming to the most materialistic country in the world, and the only people that are listening to him are hippies. Young people experimenting with drugs, free sex, and so forth. And most of the hippies were not even vegetarian. It was not popular. So that's the environment Prabhupada's coming into. And you may know that when Prabhupada was coming to America, when he reached Boston, first he stopped in Boston and then they went to New York, he wrote a poem, and the poem expressed his doubt that Americans could understand his message. I don't know. And he even expressed that, I believe he expressed that in his diary on the boat, like how I'm coming to the most materialistic country with a transcendental message. They're not interested in transcendence. You can look at their religion. Their religion is generally supporting their materialism. How are they going to understand? And one thing Prabhupada said is, he said, but I have great faith in the holy name. So Prabhupada was coming with this question, how will they understand, but I have the holy name? So imagine you're coming to America to start a business. And it's not a product that Americans in general would seem to be interested in. But you have this amazing business plan and you're backed by the best business people in India. So you say, I don't know how this business is going to work because I don't know how people will become interested. But we have a business plan and a marketing plan, and I'm confident they'll become interested. It was something like that. I don't know how it's going to happen, but I have the holy name. And therefore Prabhupada said, because I have the holy name, I know it'll be successful. And you can understand Prabhupada's faith in the holy name by the fact that he was sending us out 8 months, 6 months, 1 year in the movement to start a temple. So I joined when I was 19. I was temple president when I was 20 and a half. After 9 months, after 11 months in the movement, I was made temple president at the age of 20. So I was I dropped out of university. So I had no experience in the world managing anything. And I didn't manage my life that well. And now I'm in charge of a temple in a city. It was in Canada, Vancouver. It's a major city in Canada. Prabhupada's like, okay, you're in charge. And one of the things that Prabhupada often said, he said that if you chant the holy name sincerely, Krishna will guide you from within. Because of that, holy name is purifying your heart. He'll give you intelligence. So he was sending us, actually around the world, very young people and very young in Krishna consciousness, because he had faith that the holy name would guide us. So it was Prabhupada's faith in the holy name, the power of the holy name to purify us, that gave him the freedom or the fearlessness to send all us young kids out around the world. And we were the ones, somehow or other, who established 108 temples in Prabhupada's lifetime. And many people didn't even come to the movement till 74, 75, and they were only like 20 years old, 22, 23 when Prabhupada left. And those are the people that now are the leaders of the movement, the ones who were hippies and knew nothing about bhakti, but they had the holy name. So that shows, so that holy name that we have is powerful enough to purify anyone. It doesn't matter who they are. And Prabhupada had that faith. He can purify us to the core, and it can awaken love of Krishna. So, the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is available in every Kali Yuga, but only one Kali Yuga out of 1,000 does the holy name have the potency to awaken an extremely high level of Krishna consciousness, of love of Krishna. And we're in that age now. So it's like the holy name with some added ingredients. Like, they have a product, and then they have the plus. So this is the Maha Mantra plus in this Kali Yuga. Because in other Kali Yugas, it could awaken Krishna consciousness in the mood of awe and reverence, worship of Lakshmi, Narayan, like that. But to take one to Braj in spontaneous devotion, in the mood, in the footsteps of the residents of Braja, that's only available in this Kali Yuga. So now the natural question comes, if people in Kali Yuga are the least qualified, why didn't Mahaprabhu come in Satya Yuga and give it to the most qualified? And so the nature of Mahaprabhu's magnanimity is that he decided to give something which could take us to the highest position, even higher than we could ever get in any other time, even in Satya Yuga, and give it in Kali Yuga to people who are not qualified for it. And you might say, why did he do that? If I give you $1 million, just take it, don't ask why. You can ask why later, but does it really matter? Like you go to the bank and it's like, why are you putting $1 million? No, you don't ask that question. I'm giving you $1 million, just take it. So Mahaprabhu decided to be charitable and give $1 million to all of us in the form of the holy name. So take it, and you take that holy name and it can do miracles. One of the obvious miracles is you look at all of us Westerners and we become devotees. Like, how did that happen? We were handicapped in the way we started. You started ahead of us. We didn't start even knowing that we were spirit souls. The first time I learned that I was not the body was the first lecture I heard from devotees. I didn't know that. So for you growing up in India, you might think, how could you not know that? Doesn't everybody know that? No, everybody doesn't. So for you, it's like, yeah, we're Atma, we're spirit. It's like, what else is new? What's for dinner? It's like just normal. Every, taxi cab driver in India knows that, right? Every rickshaw owner knows that. But we didn't know that in America. So we're getting this mantra completely with nothing, just blank, nothing. I don't want to say blank, with all kinds of negative samskaras, right? Floating in the lower modes, tamagun, like that, floating around down there. We're getting it, and it's lifting us. And so we can only think of the story of Jagai and Madhai. Jagai and Madhai were basically the mafia of Navadvip. They were the mob of Navadvip. And so they were two brothers who were born as Brahmins, and they became extremely degraded. And everyone was afraid of them, and they would harass people. They would steal, they would kill, they would rape. Like the lowest of the low, and even lower than that. The worst of the worst. And Nityananda Prabhu, who represented the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, and Lord Chaitanya is coming to give his mercy to us, but Nityananda is the one who delivers it. Mahaprabhu is giving Nityananda the mercy, and he's giving it. So Nityananda one day went with Haridas, and they came across Jagai and Madhai. Jagai and Madhai were always rambunctious, drunk, creating trouble for everybody. just, and Nityananda thought, let's give them the Maha Mantra. Like Nityananda's like, let's find the worst people and we'll give them the Maha Mantra. That's his move. And Thakur Haridas is like, I think this is a bad idea. He's like, these are mafiosos. If you upset a mafioso, what do? You call their henchmen and say, take care of him. Yeah, that's fine. That's a code word for you're getting a new body. So Thakur Haridas was not feeling good about it. I don't think it's a good idea. Nityananda Prabhu was, yeah, we should do it. And Jagai and Madai, even though they were Brahmins, and born as Brahmins or lived as Brahmins for part of their early life, they were not happy, like, you're bothering us, get out of here. And they actually ran after them to kill them. And Thakur Haridas said, I told you this was a bad idea. They're running, they're having a conversation. Why did you do this? It's like a comedy movie. They're running, and Jagai and Madai are like knives or something behind them. I'm gonna kill you! And they're, shh! Why did you do this? That was a bad idea. I'm never going with you again. You know, like. But Nityananda, he's so transcendentally crazy in a sense. He's just crazy to give Krishna to everyone. He goes back, and Thakur Haridas says, you're crazy. You're going back. Yeah, we're going back. We're going to save Jagai and Madai. So he goes back. And Madai gets so upset. Get out of here. He picks up a pot, throws it at Nityananda. And then the devotees run back and they tell Mahaprabhu comes, you have injured my devotee. He calls for a Sudarshan chakra, like the Chapaka said, you know. Quick operation, clean and easy. Done. Right, it's over. I mean, what a blessing to be killed by the chakra of Krishna. But Nityananda Prabhu stops him. And Nityananda Prabhu says, you know, in Kali Yuga, in other ages you come and kill. Paritanaya sadhunam vinasaya chaduskritam. Krishna says in the Gita, vinasaya chaduskritam. I come to kill the miscreants. Battle of Kurukshetra, how many people were killed in 18 days? 689 maybe? Was it? 648, 680, anyway. Millions. Yeah. Well, almost the whole country, almost the entire, more than the population of America, more than half, maybe like half of India today. That's like a crazy number. So that's what Krishna does. So Nityananda Prabhu says, don't kill Madai because it's Kali Yuga. You have not come to kill. Or you've come to kill their materialistic mentality with the holy name, because if you come to kill, you'll have to kill everyone in Kali Yuga, because everyone is more or less like Jagai Madai. Everyone's eating meat, taking intoxication, having illicit sex, or committing so many sins. Whatever those sins may be, everyone's doing that. And then Jagai bowed down and he surrendered. He said, please forgive me. But when Madai said, please forgive me, Mahaprabhu said, no, you offended my devotee. No mercy, Nidoi. There's no mercy for you. Sometimes Mahaprabhu does this, when someone offends a devotee. He says, no, you have to suffer for that offense. Please, please. But on behalf of Jagai, on behalf of Madai, Nityananda begged, please forgive me. And so Mahaprabhu said, I will forgive you on the condition that you never again commit sin. And he said, we will never again commit sin. And that was actually their initiation. It was like spontaneous, on the spot. Mahaprabhu almost killed them. They surrendered. They said, we will not commit any more sin. And then he said, okay. And Mahaprabhu's body turned black. He took all the sin from them. His body turned black. They became effulgent. But the most amazing thing, I think, from this story, the most amazing thing is another story that happened after this. It's crazy. If you go to Mayapur, there's a lot of devotees don't know this, but there's a parikrama marg in Mayapur. It's not like an official marg, but if you live there, you know about it. And it goes by where the Ganga used to be. So you walk by, and you walk by a ghat, and there's a temple there, some kind of Gaudiya temple, Gaudiya Mata or Gaudiya organization. They built a temple, and there's a sign, Jagai and Madhai Ghat. Ghat. What's that all about? Of course, the Ganga is like a mile away or half a mile away, because the Ganga has moved, and it's moving. But in Mahaprabhu's time, it was there. So what is this Jagai and Madhai Ghat? They built a ghat because they had offended everyone in Navadvip. They were, that was their nature. Some people, they're good at offending, and they end up like offending everybody, even their mother, their father, their brother. So they offended everybody. And because they became purified by taking shelter of the holy name, they had a complete change. And they said, we want to build a ghat because we want to repent for our sins and we want to serve all the people that we offended. So they built this ghat, and every day they would go to the ghat and they'd say, please come take bath in our ghat, because otherwise, how do you bathe in the river? So Mayapur is all muddy. And I was once in Mayapur and I got my foot stuck in basically like quicksand, in the mud. And sometimes you can get so stuck, you have to get pulled out. So, taking bath in the Ganga, sometimes it's like not easy. So you build a ghat, right? So the stairway, cement stairs, you all know this. So they built a ghat and they called people. And people hated them. They absolutely hated them. It's like the story of, this snake disciple of Narada Muni. Narada Muni had a snake disciple. It was a man. Narada Muni went to Vishnu and he said, why don't you just liberate everybody? And Vishnu said, no, they don't want to go back to Godhead. And Narada Muni said, no. If you offer that, everyone will go. And Vishnu said, no, they don't want to. And he said, I will prove it to you. I will give you the benediction. You go to anyone and tell them, I spoke to Vishnu. Vishnu has given me free one-way ticket for anybody who wants to go back to Godhead, to the spiritual world. And you choose them and see what happens. So he chooses a man, a devotee. And the man says, thank you, this is amazing, but my daughter's about to get married next week. Can we do it after the wedding? Can you come back after the wedding? So, comes back after the wedding, sometime after the wedding, and Narada Muni says, are you ready? And he says, she's pregnant. My first grandchild. How could I go back to Godhead without a grandchild? How could I leave this world without a grandchild? Grandchild's born, and he comes back. He comes back like 5 years later. Oh, next week is the first day in school. I have to see her go to school. It went like that his whole life, putting it off for some reason. You ever do that? You imagine Vishnu came and said, let's go. And think, what about? My Amazon package hasn't come yet. And I'm saving for 3 years to buy whatever this is. And it's the new camera. It's the fancy one with the new lens. And, you tell it what to do and it just does it, I can't go, at least give me a month with the camera. You could imagine. Isn't it like that? Yes? What to speak of, how can I leave my wife and kids, my house, we're just about to build a porch, enclosed porch with a screen, it's going to be amazing for the summer. I can't go, give me 6 months with the porch. So anyway, he dies, and he becomes a snake in his next life. That's the man who became the disciple of Narada Muni. So now, a snake is a devotee. Word gets out in the village that this snake is a devotee. So, all the kids are like, hey, the snake is a devotee. We can harass this snake. He's not going to bite us because he's a devotee. And devotees don't bite. Well, some of them do, but they're not supposed to. Sometimes we bite with, our tongues, with our words. So what can I do? He said, just like, you can pretend to bite, but don't bite because you're a devotee. You don't bite. So it was similar with Jagai Madai. All the people in the village looked at them like envious snakes who were harassing everyone. And now we can harass them because they're not going to bite us. They all knew that. They're devotees. Now we can get back at them. So Jagai and Madai would say, please come to my God. And they would say, who knows what they would say? Some profane language. To hell with you, And they would spit at them, slap them, harass them. And Jagai and Madai would say, thank you. We deserve it. That's amazing, isn't it? So, my point of telling that story is that's the power of the holy name that Mahaprabhu gives. You can take someone as fallen as Jagai and Madai and elevate them to a point where people are slapping at them in the face, calling them all forms of ill names, spitting at them. Who knows? Maybe they passed urine on them. Who's to say? And they say, thank you. That's the power of the holy name. That same holy name took all those hippies in New York in 65 and elevated them to what Prabhupada called pure devotees. Those who were purely following Prabhupada. And so many of those devotees are now leaders of our movement. That's the power of the holy name you have. But there's a problem. So now I got you all excited. Now it's time to chasten you. There's a problem. Okay, so look at me. I don't have any hair. So you come along and say, I got this cream and this herb and this exercise and this hat, and if you use it, your hair will grow back. Which would be cool because then I could go out in the sun and not have my head burned. But I have to spend the rest of my life explaining to everybody what happened. But there's a way to use the cream. There's a time of day. First you have to use this shampoo. I'm just making it. You have to use this shampoo. Then you have to wait a half hour. Then you have to use this cream. Then you have to wait a half hour. Then you have to use this cream. Then you have to wait a half hour. Then you have to take this herb. And then you have to lay down. Then you have to do a headstand for 10 minutes. Can I just take the herb? Can I just, do a headstand? No, you have to do all of it. So, we're given the holy name, and the holy name will make your transcendental hair go back. But it doesn't work if you don't use it properly. You ever get some software, you don't know how to use it. And the software can basically control the universe. But it's so complicated, you don't know how to use it. So, it's something like that. The holy name that you have can do miracles in your life, but you have to chant it properly. It's not that you just chant and it works. There's a way to chant. And the way to chant, you see that on the book. On that cover of that book. That cover is almost more valuable than everything inside. So, now, something I'm going to try to help you improve your chanting. Raise your hand if you'd like to improve your chanting. If your hand isn't raised, you're going to stand outside in the room. You don't have to be here. I want to explain something that is extremely important. In our culture today, we focus on perfectly executing. How well can you execute? The better you can execute, the higher you will go in your company, the more money you will make. And you can also say how to be a good wife, good husband, good father, good whatever. maintain your whatever machine, cars, equipment you have. Just do it well. So we focus on the execution, the external execution. So I'm going to compare that to a recipe. I want you to cook today for the Sunday feast, and I have a recipe, and I just want you to follow the recipe. So we pull out the recipe, and 10 cups of flour, 3 cups of sugar, 1 pound of butter. You're going down, you melt the butter, mix it with the sugar, when it's fully melted, put the sugar and this and that. You're just going down, right? And then I say, Prabhu, more important than following the recipe perfectly is doing it with devotion. Right? That's more important. More important is, I put in a cup and a third of water. Okay, whatever. That's not the ultimate important thing. The ultimate important thing is that you do this with devotion. Patra pushpam param toyam yome bhakta prakriti. Right? What does Krishna say? Krishna doesn't say, offer me a diamond ring. Offer me a bar of gold. Offer me your new Tesla. Any of you have a Tesla? You can offer it to me if you want. No, Krishna doesn't say, offer me your car. Well, not directly. I mean, he does indirectly. He's saying, just go and get tulsi leaf. Offer that to me. Go get a banana, 50 cents. You can afford it. Water. You can afford water, right? Offer me water. Prabhupada said, Krishna does not need anything from you. He only needs your love. That's all he needs. That's all he wants is your love. Nothing else. Isn't that beautiful? He does not need your leaf, fruit, flower, and water. He doesn't even need your mantra. He doesn't need your big feast offering, the cake you made, or whatever it is you made. He doesn't need that. He needs your devotion. That's what he wants. Not only needs it, he wants it. He thrives on it. He asks for it. Krishna wants it so much. He asked in that verse, offer with love, then I will eat it, because I will eat your love. Okay, so now we're going to change this verse of Gita. I have the audacity to add a word to this verse. Please play for me. I don't go to a planet for people who have changed the Bhagavad Gita. But I'm going to change it just for you to help you. Patra pushpam phalam tayam nāma yome bhakta prayasati. Fruit, patra, flower, pushpa, water, patra, leaf, fruit, flower, patra, phalam, fruit, toyam, water, nāma, the holy name. Offer me a leaf, fruit, flower, water, and the holy name with devotion. Isn't that beautiful? Because, my dear devotees, there is no difference between offering patra pushpam phalam toyam or your boga or your incense or your ghee lamp. There's no difference between offering that and offering Krishna his name. Because the mood of all of that is bhakti parisam, saturated with bhakti. It makes so much sense. It's so simple, we all miss it, isn't it? This is one of the most simple things that we can say to help you with your japa, and we all miss it. And I'm going to explain why I'm saying this. The reason is because when you are given your japa beads, you are told, just chant with your tongue and hear with your ears. That's the recipe. Here's your recipe. 10 cups of flour, 3 cups of sugar, 1 pound of butter, a pinch of salt, 3 cups of blueberries. That's the recipe. But then you're instructed, okay, Prabhu, follow this recipe as best you can. But don't forget, the real thing is your bhakti. Cook it with devotion. Why I'm bringing this up is because in all my talks on japa, I tell everyone, the real thing is your devotion that you're offering while you're chanting. That's the most important thing. Oh, Krishna, please help me love you. You love me, I don't love you. That's a problem. Please help me love you. let me offer my love to you. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. I'm rascal number one. I've turned my back on you forever. All I think about is my job, my money, my house, my prestige, my success. I just, want more of that. And I'm turning my back on you. Krishna, and you love me and you give me everything. Please help me turn my life around so I can reciprocate with your love. That's the move. Right? Now, you are told when you chant, just chant in here. So where's the mood? Please understand, it's just the recipe. So now the question always comes up whenever I teach people the mood. They say, but how can you hear and have the mood? Because they seem to be like two different parts of the universe. Do you have the mood? Is it Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna? Or are you just here? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna. And no, you look like a yogi whose heart is made out of stone. Isn't it? So I get this question all the time. How do you do both? How do you cook and follow the recipe and cook with devotion? Exactly that, like that. Nobody goes in the kitchen and says, Prabhuji, you gave me the recipe, but either I have to follow the recipe or cook with devotion and just be spontaneous and throw things in the pot. I can't do both. Nobody would say that. If you said that, we would be puzzled. What do you mean? No, you gotta be. I can't follow a recipe and be devotional. Why not? That's just the mechanics of what you have to do. Your devotion is a separate thing. The mechanics, pronounce properly, sit straight, hear the holy name. It's just the mechanics of it. It's the recipe. But the real thing is the bhakti. So, but Prabhu, how do I hear and do bhakti? And I always make a little joke. When the guy falls in love with the girl, because you can't hear her talking anymore. It's like you can only feel love or listen to her talk and then know love. It doesn't make sense. So somehow or other, we've compartmentalized like hearing and emotion as two separate things. It's just a holistic process. When you're hearing the holy name, that means you're present. You're present to Krishna. Krishna's there, you're meditating on him. And then you're praying. So what should you pray for? Now some of you might be thinking, Prabhu, you hit it on the head. Money, success, friends, upward mobility, popularity. Yeah, that's what I signed up for when I came to America. So when I start chanting, naturally, like Krishna's there, so it's like, if anybody can give me those things, it's him. Like he can do it better than anybody. So I'm inclined to think, Krishna, there's a position in the company, can you give it to me? It's like natural, isn't it? Because he's God and he can do it. Krishna, you could do that. Or there's pain in my knee, and you just like, can you just make it disappear? Or whatever it is. Can you help me, remember all the answers to my test? It's natural. And it's not, in a sense, it's not wrong to ask Krishna for help. But the thing is, when you're chanting, that's not the time to ask for those things. When we're chanting, we're just supposed to be asking for pure devotion. Krishna, help me love you. That's it. Now, you all became devotees, or are becoming devotees. And if you look at how you became devotees, you have a story, right? This happened, that happened, this happened, that happened. Friend at work, left their Bhagavad Gita on the desk one day. I stayed late. I was just curious. I read it. Whatever it is, something happened in my life. It made me think, what's the whole point of everything? Isn't it? Like, we all have a story. Even people, I saw a documentary on a convent, and it was interviewing all these young girls who became nuns, like in their 20s. Same story. Frustrated. I wanted to know God. So we all have our story, right? But if you think about that story, Krishna arranged everything because he's in your heart and he knows what you want, and he arranged everything so that you would come to Krishna consciousness. Yes? You agree? Krishna wants you. Otherwise, why did he arrange those things? He wants you. He arranged it all. And you might say, like Raga will say, I was born a devotee, Yeah, but still, has he not arranged things in your life? course. Does he not know when you started going, maybe when you're a teenager, when you took a left turn instead of a right turn, and he put up a wall and you crashed into it? Yeah. So even if you're born a devotee, he still does that because he loves you, right? So, Krishna, you brought me off the materialistic path to you because you love me, because you want me to go back to Godhead. But I am so stubborn. All I want is dhanam janam sundaram. I just want followers. I just want women. I want wealth. That's all I want. You know? Why do I want that? Because those desires have been cultivated for millions of lifetimes. And if you do you don't know how good you can get by doing one thing in one life. Just get really good at it, right? Even now, if you start to learn to play the violin, even you're 50 years old, when we come back here in 10 years, you'll be like, wow. We'll be like, wow, you're really good. How did you get so good? I focused 3 hours a day on it. You get really good. What if you focused 1,000 years on the violin? You get really good. Prabhupada said Ravi Shankar has been playing sitar for 1,000 lifetimes. He probably came out of the womb. I'm sure he did, right? What if you practiced 1,000 lifetimes turning your back on Krishna? What if you practiced 1,000 lifetimes trying to become rich, famous, wealthy, successful? Don't you think that tendency would be pretty strong? Yeah, it's really strong in all of us. Every one of us. And so when we're chanting the holy name, we're praying to Krishna. Krishna, please help me overcome that tendency and develop the tendency to love you. That's what we're supposed to be feeling. That's it. You hear the holy name, you pronounce the holy name, but what's coming out of your heart is Krishna, please help me love you. And then some of you are saying, but Prabhu, what if I don't even want to love Krishna? I'm so stupid. I'm so hard-hearted. My heart is like stone. It won't melt. What do? You pray to Krishna for that desire. Krishna, I have that. I don't have the desire. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Give me that desire. Give me a desire for purity. But I want to make a guarantee to all of you. You will never be satisfied until you love Krishna. It's not possible. Krishna has designed this world that you cannot be satisfied. You cannot be satisfied if you don't love him. You can love everything and everyone and every house and car and job and person and relative and gulab jamun and pakora. You can love it all. Ice cream, whatever your favorite is. Here, you can love it all. But you're going to wake up the next morning looking for something else to love because you won't be satisfied. And if you love Krishna, then you'll be satisfied. And everything you want in your heart is there in love of Krishna. And you can get that love of Krishna through the holy name if you take it properly. Okay, so I'm going to show you how not to chant. Okay, so everyone, please pay attention. On the count of 3, I'm going to ask you to come to the present moment. Because you might be like in the rain right now, looking at the tree. Who knows where you are right now? 1, 2, 3, come to the present moment. 1, 2, 3. Are you here? Yes. Okay, I'm going to show you how. This is how not to chant. I actually have something online. You may have seen that video, like 20 ways not to chant. Not to chant. Something like that. Okay, so have you ever chanted like this? Raise your hand if you've ever done it before. I'll be the first to raise my hand. Why are we doing that? Relaxing. We don't want to put effort. It's too much effort. You like actually sit up and Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna. It actually takes effort. You know, I had an operation in September, and after the operation, I'd never been that weak in my life. I actually felt like I was about 108 years old. I'd never been that weak. And I didn't have enough breath to chant And even when my breath started coming back, I could chant like Hare Krishna, and then be out of breath. But I didn't have enough mental energy. On the day after the operation, or 2 days after, I tried to chant Gayatri. It took me 40 minutes because I had no energy to control my mind. Have you noticed that to chant good rounds, it does take energy? So if I'm just not like in the mood to put in energy, then I just when it really gets bad, someone have a phone I can borrow? I'll give it back. And you know, I'm not going to ask you if you've ever done this before, because I know you have. So I don't have to embarrass anybody. When you really get lazy, then it's Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Yes? Okay, I will admit I've done this before. Usually late at night when I have rounds done and I'm like burnt out and it's like, I don't want to chant. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram. Trying to guess his Facebook ID. No. He's not a real devotee because it's not 108. Every real devotee, right? The password is 108. Something like that. How about this one? Have you ever done this? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram. Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Where's my key? Oh, it's there. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. You ever done that one? You don't have to admit it, because the answer to all my questions is yes. Okay. How about this one? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Prabhu, what's going on? Hare Ram, 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 Hare Hare. I haven't seen you in a while. Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Ram, 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 Ram. You're looking good. Ram, Ram, Ram. What's been going on with you? Hare Krishna, Hare Hare. Have you ever done that one? Where is your heart when you're doing that? Who knows? It's kind of shut down. At least it shut down the box. Okay, you know, okay. What if you did an arctic like this? You walk down the altar, you know, you're all fucking out, you know, you're dirty, your stars, like perfect, matching colors, everything's clean, plastic, you walk, spend 20 minutes really trying again and again, get your shoe off, it's perfect. You walk on, you know, you could be in a movie, you know, playing part of it, you walk on the altar, you know. You do your mudras, your ajman. You're like impeccable, you know. You're like doing it, you know. Counting it. You're doing it all. And it's all show. Because you're thinking, wow, everybody's probably watching, how cool I am. Yeah? It's possible, right? Or you're not even thinking about other people, you're just thinking, you know, perfect. You know, you got it all calculated. My circle should be this, at least 3 inches around Krishna's feet, not beyond his waist, just below his belt. You know, you could calculate it all and do it perfectly. And your heart, not that your heart wouldn't be good, but possible. It wouldn't be possible. Right? How was the Archie, Prabhu? Cool. 4, 2, 3. I did it. 4, 2, 3, 7. I got it done. Where was your heart? Heart? I was supposed to put my heart into it. So, what does good japa look like? Just look at the cover of that book. You know, I did a workshop once, and we did this amazing exercise where you channeled another person. So you pick somebody, and you like give a speech they gave, or you act like they gave. And this one person did Martin Luther King's speech, I have a dream, you know. And they did it really well. And they said, how do you feel? And they said, I felt like Martin Luther King. So, you know, you look at Prabhupada's picture and think, can I chant like that? You could actually channel Prabhupada's mood by chanting that way. So good chanting looks something like this. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Okay, so what is going on? What is going on when you're chanting well? There's only one thing going on. You and the holy name. There's nothing else. It's just you and Krishna. That's it. So, my dear devotee, if you want to chant good rounds, don't chant in a place where it can't just be you and Krishna. Because it's you, Krishna, and your phone, you, Krishna, and screaming kids, you, Krishna, and who knows what. You're not going to be able to concentrate. And so, one of the biggest problems we have, especially for anyone who's committed to chant any number of rounds, even if it's one round, the problem we have is we're committed to the number. So if we're dharmic people, we'll keep that number no matter what. No matter how bad those rounds will be, I'm going to keep my number. You know what Prabhupada said about that? He actually talked about it. He said, you chant that way, you'll never get Krishna prema, but at least you'll get credit for following your vow. I followed my vow, that's good, but I didn't get Krishna prema, because you can't get Krishna prema if you commit offense to the holy name. You have, and the biggest offense is not to hear, it's not to focus. So, we call it japa meditation, we don't call it japa meditation and meditation on what I'm cooking for breakfast. Japa meditation on japa and what I'm doing in my office today. Or a whole japa meditation in my to-do list. We don't call it that. Prabhupada never called it that. We call it japa meditation. Meditating on the holy name. So that's the biggest obstacle. And one of the best ways to overcome that obstacle is just chant in a place in which you won't be distracted. Sometimes when it's late in the day and I have a lot of rounds left, 4 miles from my house there's a trail, and if I follow the trail it's an hour and a half. So if I have 12 rounds left, I go on the hour and a half trail. If I have 8 rounds left, I go on the 8-hour trail. If I have 4 rounds left, I go on the 4-hour trail. But I just guarantee myself, it's pretty hard to be distracted in the middle of a forest. I mean, it's possible. We could do it, but it's less likely. And I've also found chanting by a river, it's amazing. Sadhus always go by a river, it's so silent. So, what I recommend is that you chant in the morning and don't officially start your day until you stop chanting. So just pretend your day hasn't started. Like you don't do anything for that day until you finish chanting. It's like, okay, I woke up this morning, it's Sunday. No, it's not. What day is it? It's no day. Sunday doesn't start until when I put my beads down, Sunday starts. Now I can just start. It just helps the mind. Like, okay, we have nothing to do but chant. It's just me and Krishna. And you do that when you do deity worship, isn't it? Like when you do deity worship, you put your phone on the altar and do your WhatsApp? No, nobody does. You know my joke? Brothers, you like this one. When I see people chanting japa while they're driving, I say, Prabhuji, you could save time if you just, blue tack your deities onto the dashboard and did your artik on the way to work. Would you do that? They're like, of course not. Well, the holy name's a deity, it's the same thing. You're doing puja to the holy name while you're doing something else. So that's the idea. So if you take the holy name properly and you do it well, then you're going to end up like Jagai Mother. You'll have no anger, envy, greed, lust, anything. You'll become completely pure and you'll get love of Krishna. And that is an offer that's hard to refuse, isn't it? Yes? Too good to refuse. But you don't want to go your whole life chanting and not applying it properly, because you won't get the full benefit. So that's what I wanted to say today. And now I think we should take time for questions. Does you have time?
Yeah. Till until 12:30, we
Okay,
still
we'll
we can.
take time for questions. I have also brought some books there in the back. I have books and pen drives. And can you bring the cards up? One box of cards. I want to show you something. I don't know if you know about this. This is like, I teach many courses, and for all the courses I teach, I come up with affirmations. And so what we started to do with the affirmation book, no, it's okay. We made cards for each affirmation, so each affirmation has a card. We also have the posters for it. What? No, I have books in my car.
Oh, I went all the way to your house.
They're all in the car. That's why there's not many. So you can get more in the car, and you can get the posters in the car. It's open. Just in the back. So we have these, there's 20 affirmations. You have the book, and each affirmation is a card with a drawing. So when you're chanting, you can just have, if you want, have a card for the day. And they can take the card out and put it in your pocket. If you're wearing the cord though. Well, maybe it'll fit. Okay, let's do an experiment. See if we got the size right. If it's fitting you. Everyone's like, why do they put pockets in bead bags? It's for your Japa affirmation book.
It will bend.
It fits. That's why you have a pocket in your bead bag. It's for your Japa affirmation book. So you might be interested in that. And we have some other books. And we also have USB drives that have music and my lectures and guided meditations. Okay, I just wanted. Oh yeah, we have something really cool. You're gonna love it. You should at least get one for your temple. These are the cards in poster form. So you can hang it on the wall where you're chanting and you see all of the affirmations poster form. So both the cards and the poster available. If I were you, I'd get both and buy one for my friend and one for my enemy. Hare Krishna. Okay.
Anyone has questions?
Questions or comments? Confusion? Yes.
Is it okay to, when you chant, is it okay to visualize the pastimes of Lord Krishna? Because that's what happens with me.
Yeah. She's asking, is it okay to visualize the pastimes of Krishna? What the best answer to this question is that, like, let's say if you think of me, or if you knew me, you say, so you think of Mahatma, he does this, he does that. You know what I do, so you think of my action. You can't think of somebody and not think of what they do. It's just, right? And you think of my name, you think he's got these qualities, either good or bad. But you think of the qualities, Mahatma is his name, this is what he does, nāma, this is what he looks like. So Prabhupada said, and this is obvious, but because we're not so advanced, when you say Krishna, nāma, rupa, that means the form is in the name and the guna, the qualities, and the lila is there. So it would be natural to think of the lila because it's not separated. But how do you say bud in Hindi? Par? Par, a bad word. Say and, not par. Sometimes if you say and, it's better. Because bud is like an excuse. Anyway, that's another topic. So Prabhupada said, if you're chanting the holy name and the pastimes naturally come, yeah, go with it. But it shouldn't be forced. Look, it's coming, yeah. The pastimes are coming to my mind. Krishna, get your lila out of my head. I'm chanting Hare Krishna. That is, Prabhupada said the goal of japa is to meditate on the lila. And then he said, but if you can't meditate on the lila, then just hear the sound. Hearing the sound was like, okay, you're not pure enough to just be absorbed in Leela, so hear the sound. And we kind of think like hearing the sound is the ultimate goal. The ultimate goal is to be in Krishna Leela. And if you are pure, someday when you become more pure, you will see the Leela, not just think of it. You'll be chanting and you'll be seeing it. Wow. That would be cool, right? Prabhu, and you imagine if you're chanting and you're seeing the Leela and someone comes up to you and says, I don't like to chant. You'd be like, are you crazy? I'm seeing the Leela. But there's another stage beyond that where you're not seeing the Leela as an observer. You're seeing the Leela because you're in it. You're chanting and you're in the Leela. Wow, that would be amazing, wouldn't it? So that potential is there when we become purified. So many people, especially Indians who are raised as devotees, they think of the Leela. The Leela that I like to think of is Gopakumar going back to Godhead. When he met Krishna, Krishna embraced him. And I think, oh, I want to be the main actor in that movie. Oh yeah, yes. You're seeing Krishna for 7 days. Hare Krishna. Yeah. Whatever we're spontaneously attracted to, we should go with it. And what makes that bona fide is that we follow the practices of Krishna consciousness. If she said, is it okay to meditate on the Leela? And I would say, do you smoke, drink, eat meat, etc.? And she said, yeah. I would say, that's probably better to just hear the Leela. Yes, yes.
I have one question. Before, is there any technique or is there any way, we should follow before we start chanting?
Yeah.
So whatever way you want to calm yourself,
Yeah.
whatever way, I'm just talking about myself.
Yeah.
I'm trying to avoid distraction, trying to avoid thoughts in my mind. But
Yeah.
still, once you are in that, start chanting,
Yeah.
you tend to go into that thought, you
Yeah.
tend to go in, is there any
Yeah.
way that we can lose
There-
ourselves?
Yeah, it's a good question. The first thing I would say is, the worst thing you can do is just go into the chanting. When you go to do deity worship, you prepare yourself, right? To be in it, because you can't just come back from work, throw some water in your face, go on the altar, because your mind is full of whatever's going on in the day. So you have to purify yourself, purify your body. Because if you bathe, that purifies your body, obviously, but it purifies your mind. Then you say prayers, mantras. And even if you didn't say any prayers and mantras, you would just get in a mood on going, I'm going to touch Krishna, I'm going to worship Krishna. So we should do at least that much before we chant. Krishna, Prabhupada said, chanting the holy name is like the curtains opening. Krishna is there, he shows up. So, some devotees offer prayers to the holy name, some devotees may do pranayam. Whatever works for you. But I have a suggestion that I think is important to add to your routine, or maybe only do this. Of course, you can read the affirmations, that's what they're for, to prepare you. But the holy name is the greatest gift Krishna has given us. And it's our, the white lotus of good fortune. So just simply saying, thank you, Krishna. And if you actually feel that and connect with deep levels of appreciation for the holy name, just saying, thank you, Krishna, can completely change your japa. Because now I feel like I am the most fortunate person to have the holy name. And I've had experience with thank you, Krishna. After my operation, I couldn't chant for 2 months. Well, I couldn't chant for maybe 3 weeks, 4 weeks. But when I could start finally chant, it would take 4 hours or 6 hours. And they were really bad rounds, and I thought, what's the point of chanting bad rounds? I'll just make it up later. So I went for 2 months without chanting, and then I had to get back into it. And it was hard to get back into it. But by saying, thank you, Krishna, I had this amazing experience that even when I chanted bad rounds, I was relishing. Because I was thinking, I'm so fortunate to be chanting bad rounds, because at least I'm chanting. That's how I felt. So it was actually relishing chanting bad rounds indirectly, just by saying, thank you, Krishna. And another point of your question is, I'm a musician, and musicians, songwriters, I guess it's true in many professions, writers, artists, maybe even with programmers. I've never done code or anything, but you have to be in the mood. If you're not in the mood, like, Prabhu, could you lead a kirtan? I'm not in the mood. It doesn't come out right. I'm not in the mood. Go for a walk, do some exercise, come back. So the whole idea is get in the mood before you chant. And what is that mood? Krishna, giving my heart to you. Krishna, I'm praying to love you, to serve you, whatever it is I'm praying for. And I just want to be with you and nothing else, just you and the Holy Name, and me. So yeah, whatever it is you need to do it. And as I was saying before, your environment is also important, because you can try to calm down in a distracted environment. Like, get on a bus and try to chant, do your pranayama on the bus, but as soon as you open your eyes and ears, it's going to be really difficult. It can be done, but it's why challenge yourself? I was once doing a Japa retreat, and in the evenings we give everyone an assignment. Tomorrow morning I want you to chant the best Japa you've ever chanted. At least try. Try to chant the best rounds you've ever chanted. So I'm the teacher, so I have to even try harder. So my family was up, and I went in the closet, because I didn't want to be disturbed, because they're walking around, and I didn't want them to know where I was. So I was sitting in the closet, and it was like my Bhajan Putriya. And so this is such a good place to chant. And they're walking around, where is he, where is he? And Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. No distraction. Hanging clothes will not, they won't distract men. I don't know, maybe they will distract. I need more saris. That one's ugly. I don't know. Maybe a bad idea for women. But to be away from distractions is really important, even if you're trying to internally be in the mood. So I don't want to give any prescription, because what may help one may not help another. But you can see what helps. The affirmations were written with that purpose of preparing for japa. Thank you for that question.
Any other question?
What do you? Yes. How loud or how soft? Yeah. How loud or how soft? As loud as you want, as long as there's nobody within a mile of you, and as soft as you want, as long as you won't fall asleep. But I'll tell you something interesting, that when we started doing japa retreats, I think because we were doing it up in the mountains, and it was just there's a full immersion every day, you could see over the days everyone was becoming more sattvic. So the first day everybody's like, and then like by the fourth day, this is what it looked like. Same people. Seriously, the whole room, 90 people, just like this. But initially, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. So, something to consider. It may be a lot of passion, and you just need to. But after that retreat, Hari says, I love to chant softly, but at the same time, internally, I'm screaming. So although I'm screaming, Krishna, help me. So sometimes you'll see a devotee, they're whispering, but it looks like this. They're actually screaming inside. So that's also possible. But if you need to chant loud, at least be respectful to people around you, because they're supposed to hear their chanting, not your chanting. Some devotees, advanced devotees, taking it from Prabhupada, that when Prabhupada heard his tape chanting, he says, why are you playing that? You're supposed to hear yourself. You're not supposed to hear me. So we think, well, I'll hear the pure devotees, but it's not the process. So if I'm chanting like, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, and you're trying to hear, and you can't, then I'm causing you to make offense to the holy name, or causing you to make offense to me. Yes.
So, related with the same question, the loud is, I think, good enough so that it should not bother other persons.
Yeah.
But how soft, some are very whispering, it's very difficult to hear for them also. But they are saying that I'm hearing it.
Yeah.
So is it okay?
That's what japa means.
Yeah.
The very word means to whisper.
Everyone.
Generally in Gaudiya Math, if you see in Gaudiya Math, you can't hear anybody, they're just going. But there's also manasik japa, so you can chant in your mind, obviously, nothing coming out of your mouth. Some people can do it, some people can't. I concentrate better chanting softly, at least at this stage of my life. Yes? Oh, how to induce children to japa. I can tell you how not to. Now, this is how not to induce them. You're chanting and you look like this. So, you've just created samskaras, deep impressions in your kid's mind that chanting is miserable and boring. Right? So first thing is relish it yourself. Learn to relish it yourself. If you're eating something and it's really good, your kids are like, what are you eating? Isn't it? Because they can just see that it tastes good. So that's the first thing. And then you can share your realizations with them. Oh, I was chanting this morning, it was so blissful, I felt so peaceful, I felt so connected to Krishna. It'd be so nice to chant with me also. I think I could, if you chant, I'll get even more inspired. So it has to be positive. And forcing is not good, and punishing definitely not. You've been bad today, go in the corner and chant 4 rounds. We don't want to anchor in any negativity towards the Holy One. So that was done in the early days of ISKCON. It was a punishment. So there's a lot of people who are raised in that, they can't chant because it's connected to punishment. Or, I can't chant, why? Because I grew up seeing my mother suffering. Chanting, she never looked happy chanting. Another thing you don't want to do is when your kids are need you, don't say, don't bother me, I'm chanting. So that anchors in chanting interfered with our relationship. So I grew up with my parents always telling me, don't bother me, I'm chanting. So, it's like the holy name and the damaged relationship, they go together. So you have to be careful. That could happen. Does that make sense? Yeah. So I think the best way to get anybody to do anything is to relish it yourself. You see in a lot of families where the parents are really into something, kids are into it also. Whether it's deity worship or kirtan or japa or shastra, sometimes we'll see, the kids they just see it and they just do it. Once on Janmashtami, my daughter, I don't know, she was 6 years old or something. And she chanted 16 rounds. She was walking around the temple, and everybody's like, whoa. So I never asked her to do that. But I tried to set a good example so that she'd want to do it. Yes?
So in one of the lectures I heard, you can chant anywhere, anytime. You can chant anywhere,
Yeah,
anytime.
yeah.
So that's not specific.
So when Mahaprabhu says, There are no hard and fast rules. Right? What verse is that? Second verse? Nāmakari bahudani visāra sakti Tathāgata niyamita smaranena kala. There's no time for remembrance. Gayatri, there's a time. You can't chant Gayatri. You can't chant Gayatri like I did last night at 1 a.m. I was up, I couldn't go to sleep, and I forgot to chant Gayatri. That was a bogus Gayatri. You have to chant it, within a reasonable hour of sunrise and sunset and midday. Right? Holy name, you don't have to. Ideally, if you're chanting Gayatri, you should be clean. At least do some Alachua. You can, if you're sick, you can chant the holy name in bed. No problem. Right? So these rules and regulations that would govern more brahminical activities, they don't govern chanting the holy name. It doesn't mean there's no way to chant properly. I think, if you think, well, Prabhu, there's no rule and regulation, so I'm just watching watching football and chanting japa, what does it matter? That's not what it means. It means time. This yajna has to be done at this time. This mantra has to be chanted at this time. In this condition. You cannot chant Gayatri Mantra if you're not initiated. You cannot chant Gayatri Mantra if you're not sattvic. It doesn't work. But you can chant the holy name if you're not initiated. You can chant the holy name if you're not sattvic. You can chant it if you're not clean. That's what it means. Now, most devotees believe that if you chant the holy name later in the day or at night, your rounds they're not going to be good. They're going to only be good in the morning, which is a generalization. It's generally true, but not entirely. Krishna, I hope I don't die at night because my rounds are always bad at night. No. If you're dying at night, you'll probably chant good rounds, don't you think? So it means that you can chant good rounds anytime. But the more, early morning is easier. Doesn't mean you can't chant good rounds later. If you think all rounds later in the day are bad, you will subconsciously make sure you chant bad rounds. Did you know that? Little lesson in any psychology too? Well, this is a lesson in psychology. If you believe something, you create that reality. So if you believe all rounds later in the day are bad, you will chant them bad so that you are aligned with your belief. And it's all subconscious. That's crazy, isn't it? So that's why I always tell everybody, don't believe you can't chant good rounds later in the day at night. Because if you believe it, you will chant them. And then you'll say, see, I told you you can't chant good rounds at night. You'll have to prove yourself right. You can flip it and say, no, I can chant excellent rounds at night. Let's go do it. Right? Hare Krishna. Anything else?